I'm not normally a fan of horror films. In terms of what I seek from films, I typically look for spectacle, wonder, something to inspire. Therefore, the idea of seeing a film to be anxious, frightened and fearful is entirely unappealing to me. I'm not wholly averse to horror. Alien is one of my all-time favourite films, but the constant stream of mediocre horror, films which have empty atmospheres through an over-reliance on cheap jump scares and unrealistic character actions, put me off the genre. However, a few recent movies from new filmmakers like Jordan Peele and Ari Aster, dubbed by some industry commentators as the horror renaissance, have encouraged me to give the genre another go. And indeed, last year saw the release of a handful of horror films I found to be truly great, including Mike Flanagan's Doctor Sleep. So, on the recommendation of a friend, I recently watched one of Flanagan's earlier films, Hush. If you haven't seen it, I can't recommend it enough. Elements of it are legitimately terrifying, and the film kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Rarely does a film command such a level of focus from me, but it was wholly captivating due to the brilliant sense of atmosphere and basic human empathy with the main character, Maddie. The basic premise is that a psychotic killer is on the loose and hunting for sport. Maddie, who is deaf and mute, lives alone in the woods, and upon realising this, the killer decides to toy with her and prey on her fear. The premise is elegantly simple, and therefore the film is incredibly streamlined. It leaves no stone unturned in terms of how a person might actually react to such a situation. Maddie runs through the motions of everything she possibly could do to get out and call for help, yet the killer seems to be one step ahead of her at every turn. Both characters rely on their wit and cunning to come out victorious. In a lesser film, the idea that the killer wouldn't just come in at any moment would be a plot hole, yet it's set up immediately that he's doing this just for the thrill and the sport. His cockiness affords Maddie the opportunity to discover inventive ways to outsmart him, all of which are carefully considered in the film. Without saying anything about later events in the film, everything which is set up is given a meaningful payoff. Maddie is not a particularly groundbreaking character, but she is one which we can relate to. As mentioned, the situation in the film is dependent on primal human fears, like the idea of a safe space being invaded by an unknown assailant. Therefore, we totally understand her fear, without knowing too much about her character. Her disadvantage, her deafness, coupled with the fact that she is an innocent victim in this scenario, means that she is perfectly positioned as the underdog, so we instinctively root for her with very little background exposition being given. The chilling nature of the film situation is fearful enough, and so Flanagan doesn't rely on jump scares to create memorable moments in the film. There is a sequence at the start of the film in which the killer toys with Maddie without her knowledge because she's deaf, and the film is worth a watch for this scene alone. Hush is a genuinely fantastic film, and I would highly recommend it. If, like me, you're looking for some well-crafted horror which doesn't rely on jump scares or fake atmospheres, this is a great starting point. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more. But until next time, thanks.